Hmm. Well, welcome to Innervision FM. This is Johnny J. Hey Joe and Alan C. And we last night we had about 50 viewers, and I'm thinking like everybody knows us. We've been doing this forever, but some of you, if you're new to the show, this is Innervision FM. I like to sometimes we call it like Innervision Music News, and we do different interviews on the show, and we talk about different topics from political to music to whatever. Uh, hey, Alan, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How's everybody doing tonight out there in the Innervision FM universe? Got the whole crew here, and we've got a guest from
Vermont.
AI for the Blind, I believe. Is that right?
Yes. And this guy is prolific. I mean, from working the AI to the max cloning, uh, radio engineer, radio broadcaster, has his own radio station, has two, not one, but two podcast shows. I'd
Right.
like to welcome to the show, Mr. Alek Wolfe.
Hi everybody, what's going on? I hope all you guys can hear me out there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's cool to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'll let you guys take charge. This will be good to be on the opposing end of things for once.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us, okay, so you got into all this broadcasting and podcasting probably like around 10 years ago. What motivated you to get involved with this stuff?
So I was, when I was in eighth grade, I had a handheld digital recorder, and I would carry it around. Anybody that listens to this or is listening will know if they've seen me back in 2014 and on, really 2013 and on. But eighth grade, I was sitting in our cafeteria because I'd gotten breakfast, and one of the custodians came up to me and had mentioned to me, "Hey, we've got a basketball practice tonight for open gym. Why don't you come out and check it out?" And it turns out that ended up being he was also the basketball coach. So at the time, foolish little me, brought this digital recorder and would stand on the sidelines just commentating on the sounds and stuff that I was hearing.
Wow.
And it then just it was more of a choice thing. It wasn't a thing where, I have to do this. It was more of a entertainment purposes. So it then a couple hours later when we were doing open gym, he approached me and he said, "Hey, do you want to be my manager for the basketball team? You can record the games, commentate the games, and then we'll use your commentary for looking at our highlights and stuff the next night after the game." And I thought, well, okay. I mean, this will be interesting. Why not? And
Hmm.
the first game rolls around, and it was City versus South Hero was the game. And you'd think 10 years ago I'd forget all about that, but one of the things was the athletic director came up and said, "Hey, there's room at the announcers table, at the scores table. Why don't you come on over and sit with me and I'll call the game with you?" And then fast forward a few weeks later, another custodian approaches me and said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could actually announce on the PA, announce to the crowd, the players, the score, and everything?" I'm, "Oh, okay, that's a cool idea." So it just kind of transpired from there. I
Oh,
continued doing that the rest of the year. And then I 20 going into high school, I went to the athletic director and I talked to him about what I did that previous year, and then it
Right.
just kind of became this whole thing.
Wow.
Um, but it really took off
Hmm.
because I had gotten on the news for doing the announcing for high school. I'd gotten on the news, and
Wow.
one of the, lo and behold, out of all the people, the vice president of the Vermont Lake Monsters, which is our Major League Baseball team
Major
that we
League
have here.
Baseball team. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the vice president saw the news piece, and he's like, "Oh, well, why don't I, message him and let's see if we can get something worked out at Centennial Field in the press box."
Wow.
And it was funny because this person who had connections with the vice president at the time was actually our dentist, our family's dentist that we have.
Hey, what a small
So,
world.
yeah, so when I'd gone to the dentist, he had brought it up to me, and then my mom had came to me a couple weeks later, and she's like, "Have you thought about it? Do you want to do it?" This is the summer of me going into my sophomore year of high school. So I was just, I was like, "Oh my God, do I want to do this?"
Hmm.
And I went down to Centennial Field, had a meeting with the radio broadcaster, George Como, who
Yeah.
works at Northeast Sports Network. So I had a meeting with him, and he's like, "Well, the work that you've showed me," he's like, "it sounds like you're more of a broadcasting type person. So why don't we do this? Let's put you in the booth for an inning and see what you got." Well, July 26th rolls around later that year, and I go up and thinking that I was gonna, sit in one inning and that was it. I came prepared, but I had no idea what was in store for me within those next couple of minutes. I went up to the press box and George goes, "I hope you've done your homework because you're actually going to be here with me for the whole broadcast. You're going to be doing the whole
Okay.
broadcast." And let me tell you, I stopped and I was shocked because I was like, "Whoa, you haven't even heard me commentate. You've only heard little, tapes. For all you know, I could go on and I could swear and
Right.
freeze up. The worst thing you want to do in a broadcast is freeze up.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
the next worst thing you could do is swear. Um, but nonetheless, I ended up going through with it and ended up connecting with the PA announcer, Rich Haskell. Ended up talking to him. And then it just from then on, it just kind of I
Oh,
started
wow.
my own um, station through an app called Periscope. Because at the time in high school, I was doing a podcast called The Mixdown. I was doing it through the BFA Mercury website, and then once I got out of high school, and the
Hmm.
COVID pandemic hit, I was getting tired of connections going out on Periscope. So I decided to look around one day. I was bored and I found this internet radio station
Mhm.
platform that you could use. And the rest is history, as they say. And yeah, I mean, yeah. So,
Okay.
So did you get
Hmm.
into Spreaker or did you which internet uh how do folks get a hold of you?
So how
well,
did they hear your session?
yeah. So the first thing that I used was Sam Broadcaster Cloud.
Yeah.
But I did away with it because number one, it wasn't that accessible.
Well,
Number
see, that's the thing is the whole blindness community. For those that are unaware, we do try to sort of what do you call that? Support, assist, just sort of enlighten those who are disabled about the music industry and some of the ins and outs. And here's a piece of it. So I do apologize for the interruption. Go
oh,
ahead, Alec.
Go ahead, man. And so I was tired of just jumping through hoops just to upload some new stuff to automation or to
Hmm.
update automation and to go on air and all that. So I ended up going to radio.co.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I am not looking back. I've not looked back. They are incredible. They're accessible, extremely user friendly, and they're a whole hell of a lot cheaper too. I was paying 200 a year just to stay on the air with the license, and now I'm paying, X amount to stay on the air. Except for now, I have not paid the license for a couple of months just because I've been busy with the huge overhaul, but also
Mm.
money. Money's
Money
tight.
is money is tight. Money is
Yeah.
tight these
Yeah.
days, and so any little bit that can be raised. You see, because there is a 70 to 90% unemployment rate within the blind, low vision community.
Mm.
Like it or not, that figure has not moved for the last at least 50 years.
Yeah.
Um, and things have transpired. Things have not always been horrible,
Yeah.
but they've never been all that great. The artificial intelligence technology, however, opens up a bunch of new doors.
Oh
Opens
yeah.
up, wow! I mean, it's going to be insane. You see, because Johnny and I, we're a little on the chronologically advanced side of things,
Mm.
and so we saw computers come up from the size of rooms, and same with Hey Joe here from the. He's our resident time traveler. It's what 7 8 a.m. Where you're at now. The next day, so he's our resident time traveler, other side of
Nice.
the world there.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
9 a.m. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
So,
guys, you guys change times and I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not giving a
let's
savings time or anything here.
But
see.
we're old. Just to put it mildly. We've seen this technology come up from absolutely nothing to what it is today. Back in the day, there was a there was a program syndicated. You might have heard of it called Star Trek. And
Yeah.
Mm.
back in those days, why even then they were thinking about what do you call that? How AI were to work.
Mm.
They had an episode where this basically all powerful supercomputer, they went ahead and gave the ship on over to this M5 technology or whatever.
Yes, I remember that.
Ended
Mark
up,
5.
yeah, ended up not going so well. And so, we'll see what happens with this actual real technology
Yeah.
that we are developing.
Yeah,
Now,
right.
tell me, what do you do with AI?
Yeah. Tell us some of the ways that you use it.
Okay. So, there's a backstory here. I hope you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
Why not? No, this is good.
So, in college, um, I had met a amazing individual. I was just coming back from the gym, and this this girl walks up to me, and we're always so focused on what we're doing next, where we're headed to next. We always don't take the opportunity to stop and notice those little things, those beautiful, beautiful things that make life what it is. And this girl, she comes up and she's like, "Hey, I'm Eva. Nice to meet you." And then we just started talking, and that was all it took for us, was just to start talking music, New York City, and just life. And it was absolutely beautiful. One of the things I had asked her about is if she wanted to record voiceovers for my radio station. And then it went from there to, hey, do you want to do a show? Because we were talking about Arctic monkeys and gorillas. She loved gorillas, loved Arctic monkeys.
Wow.
And so yeah, it just kind of went on from there. We ended up doing a show. And so fast forward, I'm graduated, and Tuesday evening rolls around in June, 27th of June.
Mm.
I was actually interestingly enough getting ready for a DJ gig that I had later on that summer. and I looked on my or on my social media posts, and I'd seen a post that had said R.I.P. Ava, and I knew instantly that something had happened, and that it just wasn't good.
Wow.
So it's hard to really say that week, because that week, really the end of that week, even my family, when we were together, they could tell that something was off.
Yeah.
Because I knew her for, a short amount of time, but what I've realized that the amount of time does not matter. What matters is the quality of time, what you guys do, and how you guys connect.
Right.
But when I got home that Friday, we had thrown all ideas, all show scripts out the window, and decided to do a tribute show where we'd play Gorillaz, Mac Miller, Beatles, Barry Manilow, just all that stuff. So while I was putting the show together, I had stumbled upon an advertisement online that was for a cloning website called PlayHT.
HD, wow.
Yeah, and so I thought to myself, oh hey, I still have all of Ava's original vocals as they were recorded.
Sure.
What if I put it in and see what happens? So I put it in, it generated her profile, and then I put in a random script just to see what she would say. And the first time I heard it, I knew we had struck gold. I had struck gold.
Yeah.
And then I had thought, when I was talking to her family friend, because he had reached out because he wanted a copy of the tribute show to send to her family.
Wow.
So I had reached out to him with the idea of doing a show in honor of Ava, but keeping Ava's love of music alive and her spirit alive. And she loved just analyzing music, listening to music, and just talking music. So I had the idea to go online every week. Every week we play a new record, and I'll look up facts about that record, and I'll write it in a conversational style and in the AI generated, and Ava would speak it. Then I would go back and record a live intro, and then turn my vocal into Ava's vocal, so there would be more of a live aspect to it.
Like an aspect to it, yeah. Right.
And so and this is crazy, because the whole time this was being developed, I had not connected with her family yet. And people would say, "Oh, didn't you have to ask permission? Didn't you have to ask permission?"
Yeah.
Should I have asked permission? Absolutely. But I don't know I really don't know what was going through my head. I couldn't tell you what was going through my head, other than, oh my God, her poor family, and oh my God, Ava, she absolutely loved doing this.
Yeah.
And what really,
tribute.
yeah, and what really just confirmed it for me is her grandmother actually ended up being on the show. And we were talking about it, and we were just talking about the show, and how, with Ava being on, and she had told me that Ava had called her after the show, and she's like, I had so much fun doing the show. And that just sealed the deal. I mean, that was just kind of that's how that developed. So it's an honor and a privilege to do each week. And her family, and I'm connected with her family now. Her dad, I mean, her whole family is just incredible.
That's really cool. Hey, now you got to tell people like how they could hear this podcast that you do. You do it like once a week or twice a week?
Yeah, so it's every Wednesday. It's live on my YouTube channel every Wednesday. And then but once the station gets back up and running, then it'll be live on there. as well with
Yeah.
many other programs. But right now it's on YouTube. And then Thursdays is when the actual episode goes out on all podcast platforms. So wherever you get your podcast, Google, Apple, Spotify, any of those, you'll find it. And it's just called Vinyl in Your Pocket with Alek, Wolfe, and Ava Conklin. So
Okay, that'll work. That'll work.
I had a cousin by the name of Conklin. I wonder if it's any sort of relation because it is not a very common name.
yeah, what's are you able to name drop or no?
I have no idea who the cousins are. Like
Oh,
they're distant, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so I just don't know. I just remember the name. So it's interesting.
Yeah. And you said something about vinyl. You said there's a lot of record stores in the city that you live in.
yeah,
Tell us
I
a little
mean,
about that.
Wow.
yeah, so there's a good amount of record shops in Burlington actually. I mean, really they're all over the place. But one that I go to quite often is Burlington Records, and that's where I get a lot of my stuff for the show and just in, listening to to records in general. Um, and what's really fun about going to the record shops, really no matter what record shop you go to, you never know what you're gonna find.
Have you ever thought of approaching them and saying, "Hey, could I do the show with vinyl?" and asking them to sponsor it for like, I don't know, $30, something like that, like a week, $30 a week, and that'll at least generate some money. Or I don't know if you can pay for DJing because here in Denver, I usually charge $50 an hour. So you ever thought about doing something like that just to generate some money? And since you're playing vinyl, that could be a
Yes.
double.
Yeah, actually we had a show planned in St. Johnsbury in December, but we had to reschedule that. That was actually going to be at the St. J Spins, which is their record shop. But they also have a music venue attached to it. So we were going to set up there and do Vinyl in Your Pocket live from there.
Nice.
But
Hmm.
we are working on rescheduling that as we speak. So I'm just waiting on the schedule to become open more and hopefully we'll get that worked out.
Well,
Hmm.
Alek, that is more encouragement for folks to look you up directly, Vinyl in Your Pocket on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts on Thursday. So don't forget to do that.
On Wednesdays, right?
Well,
Wednesdays.
it's live Wednesdays and then it goes out on Thursdays. Yep.
Oh, okay, okay. So
Yeah.
it's like a repeat. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't go out on YouTube on Thursdays. It just hits all podcast platforms on Thursdays. So yeah, and tomorrow we're finishing up our part 2 to Mac Miller. We're going over his discography tomorrow night, finishing that up. We were gonna do the whole thing Friday, but we ended up running late, and so we're doing part 2 tomorrow night. So that'll be a lot of fun. So if you have tuned in to the first part, great, and be ready for tomorrow night. It's gonna be a great one.
That's absolutely cool, man. I can't wait to. I have not, so I'm going to go look that up right now and check that out. But Alek, one question I've got, actually, two statements, one question. It sounds like you really pushed through some stuff. You developed a love for all things audible, so to speak, in the eighth grade. You started your career strong. Uh, you are continuing to be strong. What do you attribute all that success to? Do you oh gosh, do you have inspiration that says, I want to look up to this goalpost, maybe meet this certain thing?
Yeah, it's funny because I am a big fan of WWE.
Right.
And I would always, it really started, what really gave me the itch and the inkling to just start my own thing
Yeah.
was when I was watching WWE one night. My brother was in the living room watching Monday Night Raw, and I had I had stopped and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. Wrestling. Why not? Let me just, you know, check this out." And honestly, I could not have came in at a better time because that was I think 2012, 2013 was a great year for WWE. Um,
Hmm.
Regardless of what any other WWE fans say, I think that was just a great year overall.
Right.
And part of that was because, with the commentary, it really put me in the action. And that's what really made me stop and go, oh, okay, I know I can't see, but I want to be able to put that person, whether they're listening on the radio, watching on TV, I want to be able to put them in that place, in that spot of, hey, I'm actually at the event, or I feel like I'm at the event.
Hmm.
And ever since then, I've been looking at different tapes of, Jerry Lawler, Michael Cole, uh, Jim Ross. I mean, there's a lot of people. So,
Hmm.
um,
Marty O'Neill.
obviously you're not going to be the greatest, but what you can do is you can follow in their footsteps
Yeah.
and you know take after them. But if you got it, that's the thing you got to remember is if you're picking up some of their sayings or some of their catchphrases, you got to make it your own as well, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's one of the things that I've had to learn while going through this business and just
Yeah.
not take myself so seriously.
Hey, I want to let everybody know that you're listening to Innervision FM, Innervision Music News. Want you guys to like and share it because a lot of you are looking, but you're not liking and sharing, and that helps push out the algorithms. If you want to do a little donation, you can do donation with Cash App, $ Innervision J. And we're listening to insights in podcasting and broadcasting and AI with Alek Wolfe. And his podcast is Vinyl in My Pocket is one of them. You can find it on all platforms as well. You said that you had interviewed some musical stars musical people that I haven't heard of, but tell us a little bit more about the people that you've been able to interview, and tell us who is that? Were they like indie artists or pop artists or what kind of artists were these that you interviewed?
So yeah, I've interviewed Lizzy Land. She's a pop artist out of LA. So I actually ended up doing that in 2019 when I was on our college radio station. Um, so I've interviewed her.
Mhm.
Elena Coats, she's another one. If you guys are familiar, and then I'm sure a lot of people will be familiar. A lot of your viewers will be familiar with this. We the Kings. Um, so she's done the song Sad Song with Travis, who's the lead singer of We the Kings.
Right.
So I get to interview her a few years
Mhm.
later. And then Kara Connolly, she's another artist out of LA. She's an indie type artist, independent artist, and in fact just came out with her first ever vinyl last year, which I actually have. But
Wow.
it's a lot of fun. I mean, people say that artists are hard to get a hold of. Yeah, they're tricky, but there's a way that you got to do it a certain way, and hopefully you'll have luck. I would consider myself luck of the draw when it comes to connecting with these
Mhm.
artists because a lot of them, they're always busy doing other stuff, and
Absolutely.
so it's one of those things where take a chance and see where it leads.
Now tell us, okay, when you're going to do a gig, for people that are sighted, they're probably thinking in the back of the mind because a lot of our viewers are sighted. They're saying, like, how are you gonna if you don't have a car or do you have have somebody to drive you there? You got to put the speakers in the trunk, the all that stuff, and then
Right.
you got to get from one place to another and then set up. So hire a roadie, or how do you make that happen?
A lot of the time when I go to do my DJ gigs or even, broadcasts and stuff, a lot of it is all of it's done with somebody else. I always go with somebody else. I don't think there's ever been that a time that I can recall. I don't think there's ever been a time when I've done a solo remote show by myself where I'm going from one place to another. It's always been with somebody. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
We do come from the old school, so for us, it was kind of hit or miss. There's a lot of times where I set up gigs with just a cab and meeting my buddies there at the venue because, whatever, they had their own stuff to haul. So
yeah.
I would just meet them there with my stuff in the cab and
And our speakers getting lighter now. Are there like lighter speakers with
yeah, a lot
that big
lighter.
sound? Yeah.
A lot
Well,
lighter.
there's lighter speakers, but then there's the big heavy bulky ones that come with the bags. And my dad just got me this year. He got me my first true PA system.
Yeah.
And I had one, but due to some recklessness in one of my gigs in the crowd 2-3 summers ago, I had to replace the old PA because one of the one of the some of the crowd members, they decided to get a little too rambunctious and pulled the actual, I'm not kidding when I say this, they literally pulled the preamp out of the actual speaker.
Wow, dude.
So by the last 30 minutes or so of the gig, somebody had to come up and actually sit there and hold the
Hold the
thing in,
That's the best ever, dude.
just
That's
so
the
we could
best
get
ever.
audio. And so after I had done away with that one, I had been looking for a PA system, and in the meantime I was either having to carry a set of speakers out of the studio, which were the studio monitors. Didn't want to do that, but I had to. um
Yeah.
or hope that somebody had a speaker on hand, or I went to a venue, with an actual sound system, but no more the case.
Oh man. I always like those gigs where the sound system is all set up, and all I have to do is plug in
Hmm.
and just do it that way. It's
Yeah,
always been a pain to carry your own stuff like like a roadie. It's like but
yeah.
okay.
What's really
I've
cool
got
is
a question.
Go ahead.
What I'm really confused on how you're able to do commentary on visual, like WWE or basketball or anything like that without being able to see it. That just amazes me that that's even possible.
So let me, and this is a good point that you bring up, because I think a lot of people, I know how people are. A lot of people are going to be curious, so I'm glad you brought that up. It's a two-way thing. It's a two-way streak, right? So I'll give you an example. So uh if we have Johnnie playing basketball, and he takes it from a teammate and goes down the court. And if I know that information just by, typical play by play,
Sure.
somebody says to me, "Hey, Johnny's got the ball, he's going down and he's at the 3-point line," or whatever that commentary note is going to be that the person says, I can put in, "Hey, Johnny had this amount of score. He had, 4 3-pointers during the last game, and that was a pretty incredible thing to see. Let's see if he gets more 3-pointers tonight."
Oh. So
Or
you give the backstory on the guy.
Nice.
yes. Yep.
Yes.
That's nice. I like that a lot.
So more,
awesome. See, I kind of figured that, but
It's more
I kind of
commentary on what has been rather than what exactly is going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
more the color guy more than any,
Very, very
more
cool.
than anything.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
yeah.
That's quite a niche to be in.
We're
Yeah.
joined by Alek Wolfe, folks, from AI for the Blind. It's a social media group, and a lot of folks have joined this group and have really bought into the idea of Project 70. It's the leader of the group's idea of getting the 70 to 90% of the blind community or low vision community back to work or to work. And, it's primarily centered around AI. And the way that we intersect here at Innervision FM is we do the music aspect of stuff. So because AI has, gotten into music and has gotten into all kinds of craziness, there's going to come a time when you're going to have to use AI to do something or other, whether it be with a
Yeah.
digital audio workstation, whether it be just mixing down some tracks. Maybe you got writer's block, so to speak, and you just need to, kind of get over that hump. That AI stuff is really some pretty awesome stuff. So, it's going to revolutionize the blindness community when it comes to employment, because we live in an age where we can almost make ourselves TikTok.
You know, and I have an audio sample of James Brown. I mean, back in '97, I met James Brown, and he did a recording. And I'm thinking, I even thought like I could probably make James Brown say a lot of stuff.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. No, you can.
Yeah,
With that cloning technology.
yeah,
Yeah.
There's lots of there are lots of legal issues that do get around, especially it's
You're
still
gonna get
kind
in
of
trouble.
it's still kind of the Wild West with AI.
Oh, hey, can you? I don't know if you're set up in a way. Can you give us an example of like what you've, like one of the a promo that Ava that you've made with her voice, or is that we be able to hear it, or do I have to
Uh,
have you share?
oh boy. Well, let me try something here. I don't think I can let me see if this is all wired up. I think I had to rewire some stuff earlier. Um,
You don't do electrical, do you?
no, thank goodness. I have electrocuted myself a fair few times.
Me
Okay.
too. I lost all my hair.
That's how we go with bald on top, man.
I let the smoke out.
So unfortunately, I don't have this. I don't have it wired up to where I can
No,
route
that's
audio
okay.
through.
That's
Um,
okay, but you can find it on the podcast. I mean, just
yeah.
check it out on Thursdays or live on YouTube on Wednesdays, and yeah, look it up. Man, it's been an awesome show. Tomorrow, don't forget to join us, because if you like coast to coast type stuff, the paranormal, aliens, all that kind of stuff, why, we're gonna have a guest on tomorrow that's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, yeah. I met her through this coast to coast thing, and I said, "Well, let me see if I can get hold of her." And sometimes I hear a show, and I say, "Oh, I don't know." It's like whether you believe in that stuff or not. It's just kind of interesting to find out how they come about saying, "Okay, I've done this, and I could do this," and you'll see tomorrow.
I
It's
might
But
have
hey,
a lot of
I
fun.
might have to check that. I might have to check that show out Thursday.
yeah, well, yeah, I'll send you the link to it because that's what it's the same password and everything,
Yeah,
same
in
time.
fact, yeah, just
I love.
join us tomorrow if you want, if you got time, or well, actually,
Well,
you can't,
I'm gonna
because
be on air
you'll
tomorrow
be
night
on
when
the
you
air.
guys
You'll
are on
be on
air.
the
So
air.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
Same guy, same
one of these nights
team.
we can simulcast.
Hey, there we go.
Oh,
We'll
there.
just simulcast the whole thing.
Yeah, why
Vinyl in
not?
your pocket goes paranormal.
That's right.
That'll work. That'll work. Hey, we appreciate it. And everybody, don't forget to like and share. I mean, with all with all the views last night, and leave your comments.
Yeah, we would love
Yeah,
those. We will respond to them. It takes us a bit, but we get to them. And it's important that you do that for the algorithm's sake. Even if you just type algorithm in the comment box, man.
All right, you guys. Hey, thank you guys for joining, and we'll let everybody get on to the day, and I'm gonna go have